I took care of blind Gloria for 5 years, and then just 2 years after she regained her sight, she asked for a divorce. She handed me a bank card with too many zeros to count. I'm sorry, Samuel. I have gratitude for you, but there's no love. Take this money. It's the only compensation I can give you. Everybody thought I'd crumble at Gloria's coldness, but I just let out a long breath, took the card, and immediately bought a plane ticket to go abroad the next day. They didn't know that I'd already collected my reward for caring for Gloria those 5 years. It was something much more valuable than money. If everything goes as planned, the next time Gloria and I see each other, it should be on the Forbes World's Billionaires list. The day Gloria asked for a divorce was an ordinary afternoon. In dim light, she handed me a card, her voice flat, like it was just a routine transaction. Samuel, let's get a divorce. Thank you for taking care of me all these years. Take this card. The password is your birthday. Just like how someone throws away a crutch once they can walk again, Gloria dropped me, the husband who had seen all her worst moments, once she regained her sight. The bank card was the best compensation she thought she could give me. I took the cold card, my fingertips brushing its smooth surface. My gaze inevitably landed on Gloria's overly bright eyes. So bright, like 2 finely polished obsidians, reflecting the clean office window lights, clearly showing my calm, expressionless face. But I remembered what they looked like when she was blind. 5 years ago, in this same bedroom, I saw Gloria through the toughest times. Back then, she had given up completely, refusing to eat, to drink, to take medicine. Like a stubborn child, she fought the world with suicidal tendencies. She resisted everyone's help, blamed the world, and cursed at the heavens for being unfair. Every day she was either breaking down or going crazy. It was the most desperate time in her 20-plus years. When she first found out about her blindness, Gloria was a bit down, but she never gave up, cooperating with the doctors and staying positive. But no matter how hard she tried, within just 3 months, her uncle had taken her company's reins with the family's backing. Although she'd been the most promising granddaughter and the clear heir of her family, going from sudden blindness to being abandoned only took 3 months. After all, a blind person, no matter how outstanding, is considered the family's discard. So everybody, including Gloria, gave up except for me. She refused to eat. I'd force her to. Smash things? I'd clean up after. Suicidal? I'd be by her side, not leaving. I taught her to use a white cane. She was awkward at first, bumping into corners and walls, then angrily tossing the cane away. I'd pick it up, put it back in her hand, hold her hand, and guide her through familiarizing herself with each corner of the house. This is the table, 3 steps forward is the sofa, turn left for the study. No matter how much she resisted, no matter how uncooperative she was, my voice remained as calm as a weather forecast. She'd wake up at night, screaming, her pajamas soaked in cold sweat. I'd sit by her bed, talking to her until she fell back asleep. In her worst moments, she'd hurl the worst insults at me. Samuel, watching me live like a dog in front of you, are you proud of yourself? You're here for my family's money, aren't you? You lying, scheming predator. Fake kindness. Disgusting. Get out. I don't want to hear your voice. I never argued back. Never shed a tear. I'd just quietly listen, wait till she got tired, then hand her some water. She was like a hedgehog, arming herself with all her spikes, pushing everyone away. And I just grabbed that hedgehog with my bare hands, letting those spikes pierce my skin, bloody, but never retreating. Why didn't I retreat? Because what Gloria said wasn't wrong. She was right. I wasn't pure-hearted. Although living daily with an unpredictable blind person in her family wasn't a life of ease, it was paradise compared to my time at the Wiltons. My mother had once been a jewel among the 4 major families. She was beautiful, talented, proud, pursued by countless sons of noble families. But she was blinded by love, falling for my penniless, scheming father with only a decent face. Ignoring my grandparents' fierce opposition and threatening to cut ties, she stubbornly married down. After marriage, with my mother's full support and vast resources, my father climbed up the ranks step by step. Until my 10th birthday, when instead of cake, he brought home another mother and son. The boy, Jason, was 2 years younger than me, 8 at the time. Timidly hiding behind the woman but looking at me with eyes identical to my father's. Curious yet evaluating this home that should have been mine and my mother's. From that day on, the Wiltons became my hell. My stepmother seemed kind and loving, but was secretly harsh and cruel. Jason saw me as a thorn in his side. Starving, wearing tattered clothes became the norm. I wore faded clothes, sneaked into the kitchen for cold leftovers. As a child, Jason would break my things and frame me, enjoying as my father scolded me without a second thought. At school, he'd rally classmates to bully and isolate me, steal my stuff, spread rumors. My dear father turned a blind eye, perhaps even amused. After all, a son with high family blood and the secret pursuits of an ex-wife was an eyesore. Now, originally meant to marry Gloria as childhood sweethearts, Jason cast her aside once she became blind and was abandoned. This burden, a past he despised, fell onto me without anyone asking my opinion. I was sent to her family like an unwanted gift to make up for Jason's broken engagement. But I accepted it willingly. In the place I once called home, I lived like a gutter rat, miserable and hopeless. In her family, everyone belittled and ignored me, but no one targeted or harmed me. So, compared to the daily hell at the Wiltons, Gloria's harsh words were nothing. Besides, there was something here I wanted. Gloria didn't torture me for long. That first winter I was with her, invitations for their family's annual gala went out to all the elite. Only Gloria, once the brightest star, was left out. More brutal news kept coming. Her parents, who once took pride in her, now saw her as nothing but cast away. They were actively planning to have another child. A healthy one to inherit the family business and carry on the family name. That day, Gloria somehow heard the news and tried to take her own life with pills. She was rushed to the hospital and fought for life for 3 days. When she finally came to, she refused to take her meds or eat. Whenever I approached with her medication, she'd sweep it right out of my hand with force. The ceramic shattered everywhere, and the meds spilled all over the floor. "Get out! Just get out!" She screamed hysterically, waving her arms wildly and falling heavily to the ground, overwhelmed. I just stood there watching, not moving to help her. Instead, I squatted to clean up the mess. My silence only seemed to infuriate her more. She lifted her head sharply, her voice hoarse and filled with venom. "Did you know this all along? Watching me get dumped by my parents like useless trash. Did you laugh inside? Did you think I deserved it? Samuel, speak." She pounded her fists against the cold floor, making a dull sound. "You're so good at pretending. Why aren't you saying anything now? Or maybe you don't even bother acting for me anymore." I paused, looking up to meet her pained gaze, blurry but full of agony. The shards of glass caught what little winter sunlight came through the window, flickering weakly, like her pride teetering on the edge of breaking apart. I knew this was the most vulnerable yet potentially resilient moment for Gloria. She could either fall apart completely or bounce back stronger than ever. "Laugh?" I echoed her words softly. "Gloria, do you think there's anything left for me to laugh at right now?" She froze, seemingly not expecting such bluntness. Her empty eyes stared in my direction, lips moving slightly but no sound coming out. I was just disappointed, abandoned by everyone. Lying there like garbage, wallowing in self-pity? That's not who you are, Gloria. Blood dripped from my finger, creating a small crimson bloom on the cold floor. I ignored it. "I'm here for you, not out of pity or to laugh at you. I'm here because I saw you at your best. 3 years ago, you were the youngest speaker at the Global Financial Summit. You stood on stage, confident, poised, guiding with humor and intelligence. You were radiant. As I spoke, memories unlocked, and she seemed to remember that ambitious self. I had seen that Gloria, and I believed that she wouldn't give up because of temporary darkness or stay down because of others' rejection. But I can't see," Gloria shouted, breaking down. "You think I want this? But the doctors said the chances of healing my eyes are slim. Everyone's given up on me. What else can I do? Live as a joke? I understood that sense of being abandoned by the world. I knew it too well. That's why I realized she didn't need cheap sympathy right now, but rather a spark of hope. They don't want you, fine. But I do. I want the Gloria who never gives up, who stomps on all doubts to rise above. And I leaned closer, whispering, I want my efforts these past days to be worth it. You can't see? That's okay. I'll be your eyes. They took what was yours? We'll take it back. They want to replace you with a new child? We'll make sure they never get the chance to regret it. Gloria, tell me, do you want to give in or win back everything? After hearing my words, Gloria stayed silent for a long time. I set the medicine down and said, remember to take them. I'm heading out. Call if you need anything. When I returned, the medicine cup was empty, placed neatly on the bedside table. Gloria was sitting up, her back straight, facing the window, but this time without the complete defeat. When she heard my footsteps, she didn't resist or shriek like before. Instead, she spoke softly, her voice hoarse from not eating for so long. Samuel, I'm here. Do your words still stand? Every single one of them, forever. I walked over, placing the tidied medical kit aside. She paused, gathering strength. All right, it was just that one word, but it was like a spark falling into quiet ash. From that day, Gloria changed. She stopped giving up on herself, started cooperating with her treatment, ate meals on time, and even requested rehab. Blind as she was, her brain was as sharp as ever. This quarterly report, read the key data aloud. On the third page, the growth curve described the trend. Check the recent share transfers of BF Group for all the details. She dictated business plans, analyzed the market landscape, and strategized every move. I became her sharpest eyes and nimblest hands. I read mountains of documents, relayed meeting content, filtered vital info, and represented her in places she couldn't be. Gloria was the brilliant young entrepreneur she once was. Under her guidance, I quickly learned how to accurately convey information, extract the core from chaotic data, and negotiate for her utmost advantage. She was the brain, scheming from behind. I was the eyes and hands in the battlefield. We operated like perfectly meshed gears, running at full speed. 5 years passed. Over 1,800 days and nights, countless sleepless ones, and endless dances on the razor's edge. All that belonged to Gloria, power, wealth, status, was meticulously pieced back into her grasp with ruthless precision. Until that day, the last stock transfer agreement was signed. Everything finally settled. That night, Gloria sat still for a long time. I was right next to her, feeling her shoulders shake. It wasn't despair. It was an overwhelming joy and excitement she couldn't contain. She suddenly grabbed my hand hard. It was so strong, her knuckles turned white. We won. Suppressed sobs came from her throat, filled with 5 years of endurance and resentment. Samuel, we got it back. She yanked me into her arms, holding on tight, like I was a lifesaver in stormy seas. Hot tears dripped onto my neck, burning with intensity. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you. She repeated over and over, voice choked, words a mess. For 5 years, she hadn't been this happy. Good things seemed to come all at once. No one imagined, right at the peak of euphoria, it would happen. She was holding me, then suddenly froze. Sunlight burst through the clouds outside the window, landing on her face. She let go of me fast, raising her hand in disbelief to her eyes. Light? She murmured. Then, slowly, ever so slowly, she turned her gaze to me. Her eyes, unfocused for 5 years, caught my outline, and her pupils dilated sharply. The chaos and emptiness faded visibly. Bit by bit, she got her sparkle back, her eyes clearly reflecting my stunned face. Time seemed to freeze at that moment. When no one expected it, a miracle happened. Gloria could see again. Doctors said the bleeding in her brain, which surgery couldn't fix, had naturally cleared over time. No scientific reason, just a miracle. Overnight, Gloria was back to normal. The news of Gloria's recovery spread like wildfire. Along with her company's comeback to being the top player in the tech industry, it swept across the city. In those 5 years, Gloria's parents failed to have another child. Her uncle, who took charge, didn't achieve much. The Smiths still couldn't find someone as great as Gloria used to be. Now Gloria was back. In just half a month, the once empty mansion bustled again with people. In the living room, there was laughter and toasts. Those who avoided her were now all smiles and congratulations. Gloria is truly blessed. I always said, how could someone like her stay down forever? Double happiness, double happiness. Gloria was surrounded by people. She handled it all with ease, but kept glancing my way. Finally, she found a break, made her way through the crowd, and came right to me. Everything went quiet as she told everyone how grateful she was to me. She announced a big wedding at the end of the year, hoping everyone would come. If not for Samuel, I wouldn't be who I am now, she said. She offered me 10% of all her company shares. A staggering fortune, now that she had the company's backing. But I didn't feel as thrilled as others might have expected, because it was what I worked so hard for all these years. The air was full of fake compliments and cheap blessings. Amid the noise, many eyes fell on me. Fortunes shift. The Wiltons were under heavy investigation for not staying in line with local government policies, losing their power. Jason had to marry a widow with money to save the Wiltons. And the blind Gloria, whom Jason once shunned, regained her vision and her former glory. No one could have imagined, in just 5 years, how different Jason's and my lives would become. The once bottom rung me through marriage found my way up. The world's not too big, nor too small. I ran into Jason at a bridal shop. Next to him was a woman who looked old enough to be his mom. That must be the rich widow Michael insisted he marry. The way she carefully attends to Jason makes it seem like she's truly in love with him. Otherwise, why would she bother having a full-on wedding for her second marriage with him and buy such an expensive wedding dress? Jason's face doesn't look too pleased. Right now, he's radiating humiliation and frustration, like a plucked peacock. Even that fancy suit he's wearing seems dull. Seeing his sorry state, I found it amusing. So, I got the saleslady to help me snag several suits Jason probably liked before he could. Sure enough, just like I expected with Jason's temper, he couldn't hold back after having his favorite items swiped repeatedly. He barged into my suite. The moment he saw me, he looked confused, which quickly turned into intense jealousy and resentment. Well, isn't it Samuel? Jason crossed his arms, chin slightly raised. That ingrained arrogance was still there, even in such a dire situation. You think just because you put on a suit that's on my level, you're suddenly some high-flying bird? You're just a worthless bastard without a family, and if it weren't for Gloria's connection, who do you really think you are? Yeah, I'm leaning on Gloria. With Jason pressing on me, I just smiled a little. But aren't you forgetting Gloria, the one you found bothersome and threw away on me? Come to think of it, I should thank you. Now I wear clothes Gloria picks out for me. I'm her rightful husband, and I own 10% of her company, all thanks to you. Unlike someone who lowers himself to an older rich woman who can be his mom. Oh, and I heard she's been married before and has a daughter your age? I feigned surprise and covered my mouth, my eyes filled with mockery. I must say, your taste hasn't improved one bit. Jason's face flushed red like a liver, shaking with anger. Samuel, what are you all pleased about? Gloria doesn't even love you. You're just picking up what I threw away. You're only fit for my cast-offs. She's just using you out of gratitude. Once that wears off, you think she's gonna stick around? Right, she doesn't love me. But does she love you? Love the childhood sweetheart who bailed on her in her toughest times? How about I call her in and ask? Just then, a gentle voice came from behind me. Samuel, how about this one? I turned around. Gloria was standing there with a hand-sewn mermaid wedding dress, smiling as she walked over. Sunlight streamed through the window, outlining her in a soft, glowing halo, impossible to look away from. She stood by my side, her gaze naturally falling on Jason. Just a glance. Her smile instantly froze. Her eyebrows furrowed just a bit and her eyes turned cold. With a hint of disdain, she said, "What's that trash doing here?" The color drained from Jason's face, and his head whipped towards Gloria, eyes full of frustration. But she didn't spare him a second look. With a firm grip on my hand, She led us out without a backward glance. In the car, Gloria was still upset. She usually doesn't smoke, but she pulled out a cigarette, took a deep drag, and exhaled heavily. Smoke rings floated before me. After finishing the cigarette, she finally apologized to me. I noticed she was rattled. Gloria had seen plenty of people abandon her after she lost power, parents, relatives, friends, and yet she always stayed composed, didn't put people on the spot. When I asked her, she would simply say that's just how the world works. Human nature, plain and simple. Some things are best kept to yourself. But with Jason, her poise slipped. Seeing them interact, I should have been happy knowing their past. But now, I understood Gloria better than even herself. She can't let go of Jason, her childhood love, her first romance. If it weren't for that one incident, they'd be together for life. Even knowing who Jason really is, his shameless nature, that he's just second-rate, she can't let him go. What Jason yelled earlier was true in one respect. Gloria doesn't love me. The reason's pretty simple. After 5 years of having each other's backs, Gloria and I just have this deep bond. Not that heart-pounding love fueled by hormones. Love might turn into something like family, but family vibes don't really flip into romantic love. I take a deep breath, looking at Gloria's handsome face in front of me. Is love really that big of a deal anyway, especially when it's something I've never truly had? She can't quite let go of Jason, but her pride won't make her do anything crazy. They're over, and that's enough. Back then, I thought I had everything under control. Who would have thought Jason, driven by jealousy and going rogue against the Wiltons, would pull a stunt like that? My wedding was nothing short of luxurious. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling like the stars, casting brilliant light and envy across every guest's face. Every detail screamed Gloria's costly attempts to make amends. Those so-called relatives of mine were all smiles, fawning over me like eager lapdogs. Their calculated friendliness was impossible to miss, but I pretended not to notice. When Jason barged in, the wedding march was playing softly. Gloria was holding onto my arm, ready to walk up and say our vows. "Wait," Jason shouted. He looked pale, hair messy, eyes wild and desperate. "Gloria," he yelled, staring at her intensely. "You have to take responsibility for me. Samuel, Gloria is pregnant with my child. Are you really okay with being the father of my kid?" The room erupted in gasps. Cameras flashed rapidly, capturing us three, the main event and the unexpected intruder. I looked at Gloria calmly. First confusion, then shock and anger painted her face. "Jason, what nonsense is this?" Her hands trembled. "Samuel, please, let me explain. He and I..." She turned to me, desperate with a hint of panic in her voice. I gave her a small smile, shook my head, and interrupted her hurried defense. "I believe you. We can talk about it after the wedding at home." My composure seemed to comfort Gloria immensely. She exhaled in relief, a mix of gratitude and guilt in her eyes. "Security," Gloria shouted towards the entrance, face flushed with rage. "Get this lunatic out of here." Jason, failing to ruin the wedding and instead making Gloria and me act like the perfect trusting couple in front of everyone, went completely nuts. "Gloria!" Even as the security tried to haul him out, Jason screamed with all his might, "Samuel, there's a secret you don't know. Samuel can't have kids." That hit the high society nerves hard. Gloria's parents turned stone-faced instantly. They whispered among themselves, then called the host to wind down the now farcical ceremony. Gloria returned when it was already dark. She looked at me as if she wanted to say something but held back. I looked out at the city's neon glow and broke the silence. In middle school, Jason led a group to bully me. Gloria's breath hitched. Back then, he was the childhood friend you treasured while I was just some Wilton who no one cared about, easy to pick on. They cornered me in an abandoned equipment room and beat me to the brink. I said it calmly, as if narrating someone else's tale. With a heavy gaze, Gloria listened as I finished the story nonchalantly, brushing my hair back. "All right, you've heard my side. Now, your turn." Predictably, it was the same old drunken night story. How much was calculated opportunism only Gloria knew. After a long silence, Gloria apologized. Samuel, don't worry. I'll make Jason pay for his wrongdoing. A person like him doesn't deserve any sympathy from me. I looked up and asked her calmly, what about us? Will there be a future for this half-finished wedding? I already knew the answer. This family's cold nature means they value blood ties over all. Yet they're ruthless enough to cast out even their own if they lose value. So, I know my place as an outsider. I put a finger to Gloria's lips. No need to say more. She tapped her fingers on the table and sighed through the smoke. Samuel, why didn't you tell me sooner? Leaning back, I chuckled lightly. What would have changed if I had? This position was never truly mine. Telling you wouldn't change a thing. Would you throw away the family inheritance you fought so hard to win back? Just for me? Silence hung in the air, only broken by the clock ticking. After a while, she sighed, stubbed out her cigarette, and said, sorry. She didn't love me, so it was easy for her to walk away. 3 months later, Gloria came with divorce papers and a bank card for me. Our story was ending before it even began. Sunlight filtered through the blinds, casting soft light onto her face, making it look pale and delicate. When she looked at me, there was a flicker of some unspoken sadness in her eyes that one might mistake for reluctance. But I knew her too well. Sign it, she said, her voice calm but final. Without hesitation, I picked up the pen and signed my name, more deliberately than ever before. Seeing my quick compliance, her gaze became incredibly complex. With night cloaking the outside world, I stood up, took the offered bank card, and waved it in the light. This money can be like a breakup gift. Let's at least keep it classy. I probably should have cried and thrown a fit. After all, those nights of pain were spent by her side, just as Gloria said. Without me, she wouldn't be who she is now. Yet she let me go anyway. I guess I should be glad I'm thinking clearly. I never craved Gloria's love, or else I might have turned into a hysterical mess. I hate that kind of madness. Samuel. She suddenly raised her voice, sounding a bit unhinged. Are you not sad at all? Didn't spending all these years together mean anything? Do you not love me even a little? Love you? I raised an eyebrow, walking step by step closer. If I said I love you, would you not divorce me? Does my sadness change the fact that you left me? Her throat bobbed as she struggled to say, in the future, if you need anything, you can always reach out. No need. I smirked, my lips curling into a carefree arc. From here on out, we're nothing more than the most familiar strangers. Take care, no need to worry. The air felt like it froze the moment her extended hand fell short. She awkwardly withdrew it, clinging tightly to the divorce papers as if trying to hold on to any remaining warmth. When the door opened, there was no ceremony, no goodbye words. Step by step, the past was crushed into dust, leaving no trace. Amid everyone's sighs and remarks, I bought a plane ticket out of the country. Not to heal a broken heart, but to strategize my career. When I sat in the lavish building, the man across from me had already been waiting. Samuel Anderson raised his champagne, signaling to me, your development plan and achievements in the AI field with WTech are truly impressive. I smiled slightly, raising my glass in return. Mr. Anderson, you're too kind. It's just some minor groundwork to keep up with the times. WTech, the company I poured years of effort into, focuses on deep AI applications. Before I married Gloria, it had already made unprecedented technological breakthroughs at home and was becoming an industry leader. After marrying Gloria, it secured angel and series of funding, gaining a considerable share of the domestic market. Now, with strong core technology barriers and a clear, stable profit model, we're in the final stages of preparing for an IPO, waiting for the right moment to ring the bell and wow the world. This visit to the UK is to finalize details for the branch's cooperation and pave the way for our global strategy. Anderson was clearly sincere about our collaboration, offering very favorable terms. WTech's technology, market, and prospects are impeccable. He set down his glass, leaning forward slightly with a hint of curiosity. Samuel, pardon my boldness, but does Gloria know you've built such a massive business empire? Anyone would be proud of having such an outstanding partner like you. He clearly thought Gloria and I were still happily together. After all, being Gloria's fiancé had been my most effective means of navigating social and business circles at home in recent years. It shielded me from countless unnecessary troubles and gave WTech many unseen advantages early on. I gently swirled the wine in my glass, the rich liquid casting a dreamy aura in the light, but didn't immediately answer. Anderson, thinking he'd touched a personal matter when I remained silent, tactfully shifted the topic. Of course, that's a private matter between you two. Let's talk about the specifics of our market promotion. I met his inquiring gaze, my lips curling into a faint smile, my voice steady. Mr. Anderson, Gloria and I are already divorced. Anderson's face flashed with a quick, almost imperceptible surprise but quickly returned to a professional smile. I apologize, I didn't know. However, that doesn't affect our partnership. My confidence in you and WTech remains unwavering. I understand. I nodded. As for your earlier question, pausing, I gazed out at the endless city skyline. Why would I tell Gloria? WTech is my labor of love, the solid foundation and sharp sword I've crafted in my long hibernation. It has nothing to do with Gloria or the Smiths. She doesn't need to know. I spoke softly. Past, present, future, my career is mine alone. Anderson looked at me with deeper understanding and genuine appreciation in his eyes. I get it, Samuel. He raised his glass. To you, to WTech, and to the brilliant collaboration we're about to begin. Cheers. The clink of glasses rang crisply, echoing in the large dining room. My battlefield has never been the back and forth of household intrigue or tangled romances. It's the unpredictable, ever-changing capital market. The bell for WTech's IPO rang on time. On the huge electronic screen, the soaring red numbers resembled a blazing flame, igniting the passion of the entire trading floor. I stood in the center of the crowd, dressed in a simple yet sleek black suit that highlighted my fair skin. I maintained a polite smile, smoothly clinking glasses with each congratulatory investor and partner. They praised my foresight, marveled at WTech's debut, and envied the commercial accomplishments I've achieved at such a young age. I nodded to each, responding with courtesy. It wasn't until deep into the night, back in the spacious presidential suite, that I truly relaxed, shedding the fine makeup and day's fatigue. Tipsy and sleepy, I slipped into a dream. In it, time rewound to many years ago. Michael called me to the study, his face dark enough to seem like it might drip water. Jason, that rebellious son. How dare he back out of the marriage now? Does he not understand the kind of family the Smiths are? Does he want to ruin us, the Wiltons? He was shaking with anger, slamming the table fiercely. What was once a highly sought engagement was now a hot potato, neither to be discarded nor satisfactorily managed. I lowered my eyes, expressionless. Jason's cries and protests faintly echoed from upstairs. He, of course, didn't want to marry someone blind, to sacrifice his lifelong happiness. Samuel, Michael suddenly turned to me, eyes filled with calculation and a do-or-die resolve. Your brother can't be counted on anymore. Now only you can save the Wiltons. I looked up, calm and steady. Replace Jason and marry Gloria? That's right. He seemed to grab onto a lifeline, saying that as long as anyone from our family was willing to marry Gloria, the deal was still on with the Smiths. He painted a picture of a bright future, his tone full of persuasion. I knew exactly what he was planning. I was the insignificant son in his eyes, a pawn to secure the Wiltons' wealth and the alliance with the Smiths. If Gloria hadn't suddenly gone blind, no way would this marriage have been offered to me. I didn't agree right away, nor did I refuse. I just asked plainly, Gloria, how is she doing now? Michael was taken aback for a second. Then he waved his hand impatiently. What do you think? She's blind, useless. But don't worry, the Smiths are wealthy. Even if she's blind, you won't starve. At that time, WTech was already taking shape, and I could have left the Wiltons. But I still walked into that dimly lit residence to be with Gloria. I comforted and encouraged her, cared for her day after day, read to her, described the scenes outside the window, and accompanied her through tedious rehab. More importantly, we had endless conversations. From analyzing business cases to discussing the complexities of human nature and the strategies of power dynamics. She couldn't see, but her senses sharpened, and her thoughts became clearer. She was once a business prodigy, and despite being down, her insight and acumen were still impressive. This merger failed because they ignored the cash flow traps, she said. This startup seems to have high technical barriers, but the founding team lacks management experience. They won't get far. To tap into this market, don't just look at profits. Consider user retention. During those late-night discussions, every judgment and analysis she shared opened doors to the core halls of the business world for me. I absorbed her inadvertently spilled wisdom like a sponge. At every critical juncture of WTech, behind each strategic shift, there were traces of what I learned from her. She was my greatest teacher, though she probably never knew it. Without those 5 years by Gloria's side, without the top-tier resources and information I accessed with the title of her fiancé, WTech could never have become the giant it is today in such a short time. Gloria and I, we're the same. We both can do whatever it takes to be on top. So I didn't blame her for letting go so easily. It's just human nature. The alarm jolted me out of my layered dreams. Morning light slipped through the curtains, casting a soft glow in the room. I rubbed my temples, a bit of a headache, and walked to the window, drawing back the heavy curtains. The sunrise pierced through the clouds, spreading golden light over the city. The scenes from the dream were still vivid. I took a sip of water, looking at the reflection of my clear eyes in the mirror. Gloria, I said softly, as if talking to the air, or maybe bidding farewell to the past me, I've learned everything you taught me. As for those 5 years, let's consider it tuition for the lessons you gave me. Now we're even. My phone vibrated. A message from my assistant reminding me of today's schedule. A new battlefield was already laid out. I figured I'd soon meet Gloria again. But this time, I no longer needed to rely on her. I'd stand beside her as Samuel, maybe even surpass her. The day of our meeting turned out to be quite grand, almost ridiculously so. Let's welcome Samuel, the outstanding youth entrepreneur and founder of WTech, to the stage for his speech. The spotlight blazed on me as I calmly walked to the podium in a sharp navy blue suit. The crowd, a sea of elites and leaders from various fields, buzzed with the sophistication of success. My gaze swept the audience and landed on a familiar figure in the corner. Gloria, wearing a costly custom outfit, she couldn't hide the tiredness in her eyes, the dark circles revealing her recent struggles. When her eyes met mine on the stage, I saw her pupils shrink. Her whole body seemed pinned to her seat. She must have thought she was dreaming. My speech was brief but powerful, drawing waves of applause. I left the stage composed, accepting water from my assistant, smiling politely while chatting with industry giants who approached me. Occasionally, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Gloria weaving through the crowd, asking people familiar with me something. Her expression shifted from bewilderment to shock, disbelief, then simply complex. Who would have believed that the ex-husband she once discarded so easily was now a tech mogul she needed to look up to? At the evening banquet, she finally found the chance, holding a glass as she wobbled toward me, her steps unsteady as if she was walking on clouds. Samuel, she said, her voice rough. I turned around and looked at her calmly, a distant smile playing on my lips. Gloria, how have you been? She stared at me intensely, like she was trying to bore a hole through my face. WTech, was that you? Yeah. I nodded, not bothering to explain. Her chest heaved a few times. You kept it from me? Kept it from you? I felt like I just heard a huge joke. Gloria, we're divorced now. My career has nothing to do with you. But we were married for so many years. She almost lost it, drawing curious stares from around us. That's why I took care of you for 5 years. I swirled the wine in my glass, my voice calm and steady. We owe each other nothing. She stumbled a bit, her face as white as a sheet. Seeing her so shaken didn't stir anything in me. In fact, I almost wanted to laugh. Oh, by the way, Gloria, I changed the subject. I heard you're getting pretty serious with Jason? I knew a bit. Michael pushing the boundaries, Jason being overly persistent. It had her in a mess. She snapped her head up. What are you trying to say? I advised her you really shouldn't marry Jason. I looked straight into her eyes. She froze, then seemed to realize something. Why? Samuel, are you jealous? Jealous? I let out a light laugh, shaking my head as my gaze turned cold. Gloria, you're overestimating yourself and underestimating me. This isn't a request or a negotiation. It's a warning. I took a step forward, leaning close to her ear, speaking in a voice only we could hear. The Wiltons owe me too much. Soon I'll collect every bit with interest. If you insist on tying yourself to Jason and becoming part of the Wiltons. I paused, straightened up, and put some distance between us, the smile on my face cold and resolute. Then, when the Wiltons fall, I won't show you any mercy. After all, business is war, and you have to eliminate threats at the root. My retaliation against the Wiltons was swift and thorough. I had been planning for this since college. Every seemingly casual chat, every forced family gathering, every copy of documents Michael made me sign became pieces in my game. The Wiltons didn't have a clean history. Cozying up to officials, tax evasion, exploiting employees, embezzling state assets, you could pick any, and it'd be enough to bring Michael down. I just strung those scattered pearls together with a string called evidence. Then, at the perfect moment, I presented it to the world. J Group stock plummeted, like an avalanche. At first, Michael tried to fight back, holding press conferences to blame malicious attacks. He even thought of using Gloria to suppress the bad press. But Gloria always sought advantage, avoiding risk, so she wouldn't step in. And even if she wanted to help, it would depend on whether I allowed it. With the pressure of power and money, problems kept piling up for Michael. The bank froze their accounts, and the tax, business, and even the disciplinary commission moved into J Group. As soon as the rumors started, everyone left. Those friends who once fawned over Michael avoided him like the plague. Under my precise attacks, the Wiltons' battered ship lasted just 4 months. News of their bankruptcy made the financial headlines. Michael and his wife were officially arrested for multiple financial crimes. On the day of the sentence, the courthouse was packed with reporters. I watched from a car nearby, seeing Michael and his pampered wife, handcuffed and worn out, being escorted to the police car. Once so full of himself, Michael now looked like a stray dog. Even in prison, they had no idea which big shot they had offended and could seek no help. Pathetic, really, and quite laughable. A few days later, I arranged a visit. Through the cold glass and bars, I saw Michael. He wore the standard prison uniform. His hair was more gray than not, and his once sharp and arrogant eyes were now clouded. I'm here to tell you something, I said before he could speak. He frowned slightly, a bit confused. What? I slowly curved my lips into a smile, though it was cold. Michael, don't you want to know who put you in here? His pupils contracted sharply as he stared hard at me. It was me. I clearly enunciated the 2 words, my tone steady, like 2 heavy hammers pounding on his heart. With those words, all the scattered clues clicked into place. Michael finally understood everything. His face drained of color, lips trembling. He pointed at me. You ungrateful child. Monster. I'm your father. Father. I snorted like I'd heard the biggest joke. Ever since you silently allowed that woman Maria to kill my mom for your own gains. My voice turned icy. Each word like it was dipped in ice. You stopped being my father. Michael, you're just a selfish, wife-killing monster. He was shaking with anger, slamming his hand down on the table with a loud thud. You're lying. Your mom died of an illness. An illness? I chuckled, but the smile didn't reach my eyes. Yes, the kind where she was driven to depression by you two, her so-called husband and wife, until she lost all hope and died, right? He opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. His eyes flashed with a hint of panic. I looked at him calmly. Everything happening now is just the result of what you planted back then. You've enjoyed years of glory. Now it's time for you to taste what it's like to lose everything and to be a disgrace. You all deserve it. He slumped back in his chair, as if all his energy had been drained, and his eyes were filled with despair and venom. After a while, as if remembering something, He abruptly lifted his head. What about Jason? What did you do to Jason? He's your brother. Brother? I raised an eyebrow. The brother who always bullied me, took my stuff, and eventually made sure I couldn't have kids? I could have gotten treated back then, without all the horrific damage. What did you do to him? Michael's voice had an almost imperceptible quiver. It was his last hope. If Jason was outside, maybe he could still get out. Jason? I deliberately drew out the name. Remember back in college when he drove a girl to her death? Michael froze, apparently unfamiliar with the event, or perhaps he just never cared. A girl jumped from a rooftop because of his bullying and lies, dying on the spot. I stated plainly, with a chill in my voice. You spent a lot of money back then to cover it up, keeping his reputation intact, right? Michael went pale, his lips moved, but nothing came out. I gave a small, mirthless smile. Don't worry, he's fine. I just did justice for that innocent girl. Oh, by the way, I leaned closer to the glass, lowering my voice just enough for him to hear clearly. He's right next to you in the adjacent prison. Now, your family is reunited in jail. Michael collapsed back into the chair, eyes wide and mouth gaping, like a fish out of water, gasping helplessly. I stood up, took one last look at him. Enjoy the rest of your life in prison, Michael. With that, I turned and walked away without a hint of nostalgia. Behind me, I vaguely heard Michael's desperate, ragged shouts from the visiting room. I walked out of the heavy prison doors. Outside, snow was falling heavily, though I didn't know when it had started. The cold snowflakes settled into my hair and onto my shoulders, melting quickly and bringing a chill that seeped into my heart. After plodding for half a lifetime, at last it was over. The Wiltons were ruined, Michael and Maria got what they deserved, and Jason paid for his crimes. This long-running drama of revenge had ended, leaving me like an actor on an empty stage, alone, after the audience had vanished. In the distance, a tall figure stood out against the snowy backdrop. Gloria. She wasn't using an umbrella, letting snow collect on her dark hair and shoulders. Her well-tailored dark coat had acquired a thin layer of white. She stood silently, like a statue, eyes locked on me. I squinted slightly, a bit surprised. I walked toward her through the snow, each step producing a soft crunch. What are you doing here? I asked. She looked thinner, a hint of perpetual fatigue in her eyes, but her gaze was now clear, straightforward. Being as smart as she had pieced together all the clues by now, understood many things. Her voice was more hoarse than when I saw her at the party, as if sanded down by the snowflakes. I want to ask you something, Samuel. She looked at me steadily. When you came into my life, was there ever anything genuine? Even just a little? I opened my mouth, wanting to tell her that even without her, I could have reached where I am today. Whether it was Gloria as a mentor or being known as her hubby, it was all just one of the plans, a possible fast track, but not indispensable. With or without Gloria, I would still become this Samuel. Facing her decisive abandonment back then, I once wanted to question her heart too. But as the words formed, they faded away again. Those 5 years, I was staring at her and also at a past that had long become blurred. Did I end up with more or lose more? Even I no longer knew the answer. The snow fell heavier, blurring visibility, and somehow the years too. My phone chimed with a text. I'm ready now, same old place. I chuckled softly, not answering Gloria's question. Some answers just didn't matter anymore, because my life no longer entwined with hers.